Yeah, man. We are telling you, yeah, man. We in the diaspora, we're serious, you know. We in the diaspora, very serious. Yeah, man. The renegade is here. Alongside, Jeffery Tavares. Man, must speak in mind. Jeffery, stand down. Alongside Wil Rattigan.
At
Yes,
your
man.
service.
We run here, so we don't play. And Herb Nelson Jr.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, man, we are here.
Good
And we're
evening
waiting
to you
on
listeners.
Damion Crawford to log on. But we're going to run the thing till him log on, right? Welcome. We are here, keeping it real and hot. Yes, man. Rattigan?
Yes, sir. Well, we had some breaking news. It's no longer breaking, it's news now. It might be breaking news for other people, but what happened was today, and I'll get to it in a second. I'm trying to pull it up. Oh, here it is. The renegade, unafraid, the man of the wilderness, the wind. The man, he telegraphed it about a week or so ago and said if he not see no change, I'm going to file a lawsuit against the police commissioner. And people thought that it was just idle talk. Well, I'm looking at it right now online here, and it was filed today, March 13, in the Civil Division of the Supreme Court of Jamaica. And this is a serious lawsuit because it's asking the court to issue a declaration that the police commissioner is unfit for duty. And it's also asking that the Police Services Commission and the Public Service Commission that they, based on the police commissioner's failed record, they should ask him to resign or remove him. Very, very serious indeed. And then it goes on, the lawsuit goes on with a statement of fact. And the facts are all uncontroverted. These are things that can easily be proved. Easily be proved. The appointment of the commissioner, the murder rate, his failed policy, the continued murder and crime spree in Jamaica. And so this is a call for justice. This is a call for action. This is a call for people to take stock of what's going on and realize that we in the diaspora, most of us, we're not talking about the puppets who are members of the Jamaica, of the Global Jamaica Council, Global Jamaica Diaspora Council. We're not talking about those folks because those folks, they report to the establishment. And in fact, they might go to prison, They might go to prison because they're not complying with the Foreign Agents Registration Act, the FARA Act. They're not in compliance with it. And, it'll happen one day. Maybe it won't happen tomorrow or next week or next year. But one day, they might go hold them people accountable. And they're looking at serious jail time. And if it's a felony, and if it's a misdemeanor, if it's an intentional failure to file, it's a felony. If you never know, you never filed, it's a misdemeanor. But still, you're looking at 6 months in prison for the misdemeanor and a hefty fine. I think it's $25,000, up to $25,000. So we're not those people. We are the people who are holding the Jamaican government's feet to the fire. And as the man Lonesome said, you own under the Westminster system of government, you have one government at a time. So we don't really make comparisons between this government and the former government, or this government and any government inside or outside of Jamaica. Because once you start doing that, you water down the thing and you lose the perspective and you get distracted. Because when they come and they tell you that, people in Honduras, they're suffering too. They don't have this and that. How does that improve the life of a man in Jamaica when he hears that? He didn't vote for his representative to tell him that we're going to make a comparison between you and another guy in another country suffering, so you shouldn't feel no way. No, that's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. When we vote for a representative, we vote for you to take care of us. And remember now, it says representative, so you are not us. You're representing us, which means You're subordinate to us. We put you there. And when you fail to perform, then it's our duty. It is our obligation, and it is our right to remove you. And that's exactly what's going on here. We voted for our government, and the government put in place, in charge of our crime portfolio, a gentleman by the name of Major General Anthony Anderson. And based on the lawsuit, based on the facts, based on the survey, based on a lot of things, this man is a colossal failure. And I'm being generous when I say that. I'm being nice to him when I say he's a colossal failure. Because this is a man who said that best practices said you should only attempt 2 to 3 technology projects in your law enforcement portfolio at a time. But he's doing 30-something. He's doing 30-something, and he doesn't have the resources, even though he should have the resources, because the minister said the Minister of National Security, Dr. Chang, said that, Horace Chang, said that he said it last year, February, that he had he's been spending $1.2 billion on a thing called Plan Secure Jamaica, and he started spending it in fiscal year 2016, 2017, and that it's going to end this year, fiscal year 2022, 2023. And we don't see the results. What we have seen is we've seen an increase in crime based on the last annual report, and we've also seen an increase in the police commissioner's wages. So how does that affect you, Jamaican people? And I'm talking to you people, primarily the ones making $9,000 a week, right? This man, he's put in position to reduce crime. Crime increased, and his pay increased. So tell me now, do you think he has if you think about it logically, does he have an incentive to decrease crime? Because it looks like anytime crime go up, fee and pay go up too. There's no incentive there. It should be performance-based. And if you remember, the Prime Minister talked about giving out job letters to all kinds of people. And we're also talking about one of the things that in the lawsuit also is for us to see the performance evaluation for the police commissioner. We want to see where them give him performance evaluation, because here's the thing: you cannot have a man in charge of this portfolio and not give him a performance evaluation. You must have a performance evaluation, especially if you're a public service, if you're a public servant. Must. So we want to see what them give him, because guess what? If them give him outstanding, then that runs counter to what the Jamaican people said in the poll. 91% of them said that they had little to no confidence in his ability to perform his job. So if them give him outstanding, then there's a big problem. Because at the end of the day, guess who must be pleased in order for him to continue? We know as a politician, keeping him there, but he's there to serve who? Us. We the people, he's there to serve us. And when we find that his performance is below standard and it's intolerable, then we need to make our voices be heard. And that's what's been absent on the Jamaican political landscape for decades: the voice of the voiceless. We have remained voiceless, even though we have a voice and we can't talk. But for whatever reason, we haven't said the things that we need to say. We haven't come together in unity with one message as a single force. We haven't done that until now. Until now. You're looking at a panel right now based on decades of experience in law enforcement and other areas. And we believe that we're not going to do their job for them. But what we believe is that they should be doing their jobs, or they should be replaced. And to make a long story short, that's what the man in the wilderness did today. Filed the lawsuit. I know the government will have to respond. And it's going to be interesting to see how they respond. Because either way, doesn't matter. In a sense, it doesn't matter how they respond. Because this man, the police commissioner, Anthony Anderson, is damaged professionally for life. He's damaged because this lawsuit enumerates his failures. So how is he going to sit and talk to his international partners when they know that his own people have filed for his removal? He will have no effect whatsoever. He's been reduced by this lawsuit to being ineffective. And he won't be respected by his peers. And we cannot have that. We need to have somebody who's going to stand up for Jamaica and represent. Somebody when they stand up, man or woman, when they stand up and they start talking to their counterparts, people will respect them, people will believe them, people will have faith and confidence in them. And when I say people, I'm talking about not just their international partners, but also the people whom they serve. And today, it's a sad day that this has to be done. But as they say in Jamaica, you have to do what you have to do. And people are cheering the man in the wind. I can't begin. I mean, I can't just tell you how many phone calls, how many text messages I've received. People can't believe it. People see it and say, is this a joke? Or this not really file? I say, yeah, man. It's file. It's file. And so it's a day of hope. It's a day of inspiration. We have left desperation behind. It's in the rearview mirror. Because what this is doing, it's sending a very clear and unequivocal message to the masses in Jamaica and overseas that if you're dissatisfied with people who are put there to serve you, take action. And as we said, you take action in a legal and peaceful manner. We don't want any war, bloodshed, injuries, none of that. We want to do it in a manner that even the international partners and other countries, whatever, they look at it and they respect it. And this may be inspiration for them to do the same thing in their country. This is a first. Today is a day of history. It should be recorded that on March 13, 2023, Mr. Wayne Lonesome filed a lawsuit against the police commissioner for his removal. Never been done in the history of Jamaica. So we have to give him a round of applause. And whenever you see him, I know he doesn't drink and him not smoke, but you can congratulate him when you see him. When you see him, and just tell him, say, thank you for standing up for us, because we in the diaspora, for the most part, we are a fractured group. We're a fractured group because the government has come in and formed this global Jamaica Diaspora Council, and they've appointed a significant amount of the members, and they report to them. They talk to them. They don't represent our interests. So I want you to look at this panel carefully, because this is a power-packed panel. This is a panel that is charged to the hilt with the responsibility of protecting diasporan rights and also the rights of people back home. And we're taking it on ourselves, because when you look at this panel, we don't have to do this. But you see my background. That's why I'm doing it. That picture, that background there, back there, that look like my street. That look like Penwood Road when we moved from down there, right? And that zinc fence that look like my zinc fence, and the house that look like my house. And guess what? You may not see it because it's a picture, so you don't see any action. You don't see any activity behind me. But guess what? People still live there. People still suffer from that same place. And just because I have achieved a modicum of success, should I then turn my back and say, I make it out, so then the rest of them can't make it out? No, it no works. So we have to help each other. And there are people suffering down there, and they don't have a voice. And I have decided to become their voice. If them don't want me to become their voice, then them will tell me. But that's not what they're telling me. They might encourage me and say, Mr. Rattigan, go on, give to them. And the fireman and the defender and will not give to them. So I will continue giving it to them until we see changes, until we see opportunities, until we see progress, and until we see the prosperity where them talk about, because we don't see it. Them talk about, well, at the JLP conference, them talk about, well, we have a plan to move poor people into middle class, and we don't see that. Where is that plan? I've asked PNP and JLP alike, have you seen that plan? Because I want to share it with my people in a Waterhouse. I want to share it with my people over Compound. I want to share it with my people over Towile. I want to share it with my people from Maxwell Avenue. And up to now, Yang, me not see Yang, can't get the plan. There's no plan.
The only Yang is the Yang bikes.
So
okay,
so that is my soapbox piece. So I'll turn it over now to the real host.
Yes, man, I'm here. The host with the most. The renegade with afraid. Welcome, Damion Crawford. How are you doing, sir? Turn on the light. Damion? You can hear me? Damion? You're not hearing me? Yeah, Damion? Yeah, man, Damion. Yeah, man. Yeah, fix up the... Damion? Mr. Crawford?
Well, while you waiting on Mr. Crawford,
Yes.
I mean, you have an audience here that's waiting with bated breath to hear what's going on. Let me
Well,
just show
them know say, wait, we have to do what we do today. Because we are one the commission a long time. Yeah, but you know, this group are like, you know, the chatty group, we're full of action, you know. Too much of the bag of mouth thing, no. And you see, when you see things that go wrong, we have to stand up for the people in Jamaica. Because we know them, none of them can stand up for themselves, especially the masses. The big boys, them are just like 1%, you know. And them whole Jamaica hostage, you know. But the masses who can stand up for themselves, we have to stand up for them. So I mean, that's what I'm about. And may I tell you, the worst commissioner, even not a commissioner, by the way, not even a police, and the worst me ever see in the history of Jamaica. And yet still, the government can't congratulate this commissioner like, I mean, it throw we off. It throw we off. You understand? Damion I try log in back in at the same time, but Jeffrey.
Good night, everyone. Good night, our listeners, our viewers. I must apologize for not muting my mic earlier on. I was trying to get some stuff done. Anyway, what you have done on the behalf of the Jamaican diaspora in London, Canada, and United States, I lift my hat to you, Mr. Lonesome, because the time has come that we, the people, must have a voice. That we, the people, must tell the politicians of our country that we put them there. They are the servant of the people of Jamaica. Without them, without we, they wouldn't be there. And if we put you there to do a job, you need to do the job. What the commissioner must do is to do the honorable thing now and tender his resignation. Not only him, but the Minister of National Security. And even I dare go further. I dare go further. The Prime Minister of Jamaica must do the honorable thing and resign. Jamaica is a dictator. Jamaica is a democracy the last time I checked. And if the people of Jamaica cannot speak to a Prime Minister and the Prime Minister speak back to them in a good manner, then something is fundamentally wrong with the government of our country. And I say tonight, the time has come for the Jamaican people to stand up and say enough is enough. The time has come for the Jamaican people to turn things around in our country. And the Commissioner of Police must tender his resignation. Mr. Lonesome, I see Mr. Crawford is on.
Mr. Crawford. The mic still mute. Can you hear me, Mr. Crawford? Yeah, man.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yes, man. Good. Yes.
Can you imagine what the rural children going through to get onto their math classes?
That I'm saying, man. Can you imagine? Just imagine.
The internet is crazy, man. As I'm in St. Mary, so my internet not so good.
Oh, the internet, yeah, man. The internet is acting crazy. Yeah, man. We'll see you, man. Welcome, man. Welcome.
Thank you, man.
Yes,
I was
man.
trying to get on. My apologies. My apologies. So I'm gonna set properly so you can get me now.
Yeah, man. That good. This good.
You have to say
Welcome
good in
again.
the
Welcome
the
again.
girls that can look in your eyes, Damion.
Huh?
You have to say good at the girls that can look in your eyes,
The girls, them.
Boy, the amount of people that watch it, if that was advertised.
Yes, man. Damion, we just make some history, because we have a commissioner of Jamaica where, not performing. And all we want them not perform. So we have to file a lawsuit against him, them for remove him. You understand? Them for remove him. He's not performing. 91% failure. Right?
Yes.
And murder rate go up each year and them watch. You know, just bagatalking and them a try praise him the 1%. We can't stand that. Jamaica people life under threat under this commissioner. We need a real police. So we file a lawsuit against him. We and the people of the diaspora. Yeah.
So what is the basis of the lawsuit though? What is the grievance that you have recorded?
Ratty, you want to give him a rundown? Give him a rundown on it.
Yes, Mr. Crawford. Good evening, good night.
Turn on your mic, Ratty.
Yes, Mr. Crawford, good evening, good night. It's Wil Rattigan here. The basis of the...
Good night, Steve.
Yes, sir. This is the gravamen of the complaint is that the police commissioner has failed to execute his duties. And as a result of that, we're asking for a declaratory judgment from the court as one basis to remove him. Another basis is to do a mandamus writ, essentially asking the agencies responsible for keeping him in place to produce his performance evaluation, and also to remove him based on what? Based on his failed performance. And his failed performance, we're looking at the crime rate that's been going up constantly. And then we're also looking at his disapproval rating of 91%, among other things. So essentially, it's calling for the court to have a hearing and to bring the Police Services Commission and the Public Service Commission before it to address these allegations and then move forward. So I think it has sound basis, but whether it's dismissed as frivolous or allowed to move forward, the police commissioner has been damaged beyond repair because he now has no standing with his international partners, because now it's a public document saying that he's a failure. I mean, they knew about this because they all collect in Jamaica. They all collect information. So now he's a failure. So at this point in time, given his age and this stage, we are requesting him to do the honorable thing, and that is to just exit stage left or stage right, but exit, because there's no point in any further performance.
Well, what you have brought to the forefront is that there is something lacking in our governance structure, because the Commissioner of Police should face at least the Parliament twice a year. Based on what you're saying, a citizen shouldn't have to go through the court. The persons holding offices like the FSC chairman, the Commissioner of Police, they should face the Parliament, who are the representative of the people. But also people should be able to also posit certain questions that would be asked because of the great impact that these positions have on the people. It shouldn't be just based on the whims and fancy of the Prime Minister and the person's willingness to speak the Prime Minister's message. So I am happy to see that somebody's taking some steps, but it's something that I never even thought about.
Yes,
well, the thing about it is that he had telegraphed, he meaning Mr. Lonesome, he had telegraphed it a while back and said that, you know, he's going to do it, and if we don't see any improvement in the performance, and we didn't see any improvement, and we didn't see any movement, so he decided that, well, you know what, let me grab the bull by the horn. So that's exactly what he did today, and so it's going to be interesting to see how the Jamaican government responds to this.
I am confused, I must say, from an individual level, that a man is willing to continue despite 90% saying that they have no confidence in him. What is your authority to serve if the people don't want to be served by you?
Well, the authority that you're talking about is misplaced, because that authority to serve is coming from the Police Services Commission and the Prime Minister, when it actually should come from the people, because they're the ones who are being served. Because and I'm glad you said serve, because they're there to provide a service to the people who elected them to that position. And so the people have to show that they're the ones with the power, because for far too long we have relinquished that power to the politicians. We have almost treated them like demigods when they're not.
Yeah.
We are the ones who put them in the position to serve us. It's a privilege for them to serve us. They should regard it as such. But some of them, they regard it as their birthright. And I say that with all due respect, because some of them, instead of mentoring people in the inner city communities that they serve, mentoring them so that they can become leaders themselves. Instead, who did they mentor? They mentor them wife, they mentor them picnic, they mentor them friends, and then forget about the people them serve. That can't happen no longer.
You know what, again, with the commissioner, what we notice, sit down here and notice, when all of these big guys up there, no care what, like SSL and all kind of things, you don't hear remote open. You don't see these people get locked up. You don't hear nothing about them. We see people break the line, COVID, minister, and them just say, oh, I see the tape. And them go round your back and them throw out these things. So it's like the prime minister plant him there to protect them and them interests. It can't work with a lawsuit them. You understand, Damion? We have to do this. Because
I look
the commissioner. Yes. You can hear me?
Yeah, man. Nothing try, nothing done. I'm looking forward to see what happens.
Yes, man. Herb and multi mic. Herb.
Listen, Damion, and fellow panel members of the public. Everybody forget, when they were talking about reduction in crime in February 2021, and they talk about the murders being out of control, the Minister of National Security himself, Dr. Chang, the Deputy Prime Minister as well, he said, and I quote him, he'll give the commissioner 18 months to get murders under control. And at the end of that period, then something would have to happen. Well, that meant August of 2022. From February 21 to August 22, that day has come and gone. And absolutely zero occurred in August of 2022 or since then. So the question is, how can you have somebody who has failed to meet performance standards in the job without any recourse whatsoever to replace them? So you're saying that it should have come through the parliament, but unfortunately, the parliament and the parliamentary committees have not raised their voice any at all in this manner. In this matter, actually, the commissioner, regardless of what we have to say, right? So, not to mention the other complaints out there, because we can get into the individual complaints, and the fact that the police hierarchy, the inspectorate, he has failed to control them and to give them standards, the same standard that Dr. Chang gave him in February 2021 should have been extended out to all his assistant commissioners in the areas that they're responsible for, and to bring crime down and to have the tenacity to go out and face the people and talk to the communities about what they've been doing and how the communities can come together to help themselves. I know of no community program where he himself has interfaced with the community or is currently interfacing with the community to set the example of how crime should be brought down and how the police should be a part of the community, CDCs and the rest of them. I have not had any reports, positive reports about anything happening in that direction. the man does not lead by example. There's a lot of pomp and circumstance, and we've seen embarrassment even with that. So where does his run end? Who's mandating that he keep continuing if the murder rate does not come down and if nothing is fixed? If Minister Chang put that out, he should be the one to draw that line and say, hey, it's the end, time's up.
But Minister Chang need to move him. He must get removed himself. He have 93%.
I was wondering if you're going to extend the lawsuit to him as well, because he's the one making policy, and none of his policy seem to be working in the communities.
Nothing not working.
It's not just what the police commissioner has failed to do, but what he himself as a leader, a policymaker, has failed to do as well.
And you know what, Mr. Damion phone hacking up, right? But you know what? Under all these failures under the commissioner, them raise him pay. Him doing a good job. For so much murders and them watch, them raise him pay. Them put on $4.something million more on his pay. $4.something million more. Right, Damion? Can you hear me? All right.
Yes.
So the commissioner and all the failures we're talking about and the amount of SOE you people have shut down. What them are telling us, well, this and why use SOE for just lock up the poor little get to you them. And I'm glad you people never end that thing there, We not tell them, no, this is a failure. You're number brown. Right? And them vex, them start using now every 14 days. Right? It's a failure. Them give the man raise a pay $4.8 million upon him pay. The highest paid commissioner in a Jamaica history. What you say about that, Damion? Damion? Phone hacking up,
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Look, well,
yes, yes.
It seems as if they're working hard on the internet to don't want us to broadcast. Mr. Rattigan, you were saying so?
no, I was gonna turn to, and I mentioned it earlier with earlier on the first program about the here it is. Hold on 1 second.
You should have the MP use his cell phone.
That's what he's using.
Yeah, that's good, but he's in the country, so not picking up.
Yeah. I was going to talk about...
Take it off a video and put it on just audio.
Right.
Okay, all right. Make it
you should be able to get through that way.
Yeah. You want me to do that then? All right.
Yeah.
Let's call him then.
But you know something, gentlemen? I see we're in the chat room. Somebody is saying that we should file a lawsuit against the DPP.
That coming.
And that is the truth. And I think we need to file one against the Governor General of Jamaica. Because he's not doing nothing. He's a yes man to the Prime Minister.
Yeah, the thing is, he's above the law. Based on the Constitution, it's going to be difficult to sue him. You can try, but they're gonna dismiss it. I'm almost sure they're gonna dismiss that, unless it's a high crime like murder, or if they catch him selling dope or something like that. But the type of lawsuit that Lonesome filed for non-performance or underperformance, that won't find any legs in the Jamaican court.
But everybody's saying that the thing that Mr. Lonesome filed, if it will stand any chance in the court in Jamaica.
No, man, that's a stand chance. That gone. No, if it are a stand chance.
No. We know it's going to stand chance, but the other people in our country is saying, based on what happened before, is the same bang going to happen again. But I think nothing tried, nothing done, and it will stand in the court of law.
Of course. So if the judge corrupt, we know if the judge corrupt, and anything with the judge try, we know. So well, We're going to hold them and we're going to take it for a higher level.
Well, if it happens that the court in Jamaica put it down, then we go to the Supreme Court in London, to the Privy Council in London.
That's it. So he need to move. We need to remove him. Non-performer. He's a non-performer. Can you hear now, Damion? Try get some signal up. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Try getting some signal up. Yeah, things are get hot now, you know. Yes, man. Yes, Ratty.
Unmute your mic, Ratty.
You hear me, man?
Yeah.
Yes, Ratty.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, when you look at the staff orders for the public service, right, which is for all the government agencies of Jamaica, and this applies to the police as well.
Can you hear me now, Damion?
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Go ahead, sir.
Keep talking, Ratty.
Okay. When you look at the staff orders for the ministries, various ministries and all the agencies, government agencies, there's a section, chapter 9, talks about performance management. And it talks about the essential requirements for an effective performance management system. Then it goes.
All right. You're logging back. Okay, cool. All right.
Then it goes to section 9.61, talks about roles and responsibility of managers, right? And the police commissioner would fit under that role. And here are some of the things, right? Here are some of the things. One, the manager must ensure knowledge of operating environment, because remember now, he doesn't set policy, he's an operator, right? 2, ensure knowledge of mandate, mission, and values of organization. We're not sure about that.
Can you hear?
Third one, ensure work is defined and organized to achieve stated goals and objectives. We know him don't know nothing about that, him a feel. Ensure each individual within the organization has up-to-date job description showing scope of responsibilities and specific duties. No, that's not happening. Provide effective leadership. Give clear, consistent direction. Provide necessary resources and relevant tools to get job done. We know him not doing that. Provide or facilitate opportunities for training and development to enhance performance. No, sir. Prepare and present for discussion performance expectations and performance assessment criteria. No. Conduct assessment based on the performance assessment criteria and prepare performance report. No. Sign the performance management report. No. We want to say who signed theme performance management report, because them things are him not meet them things are. And the people above him feel him too, and who him report to? The Minister of National Security. And
well,
that's
he's
why
going to sign it, Mr. Rattigan.
Sign what? What is he going to sign?
Sign it.
What is he going to sign? He hasn't signed it. What is he signing?
You can hear us now, Damion?
Yeah, man, I'm with you, man. Yes.
They must have a performance evaluation, and I'm telling you, the performance evaluation, they will not produce it, because you know why? If they produce it, it will be in contradiction to his actual performance witnessed by the people, as well as the poll. As well as the poll describing his 91% disapproval rating. So they can't provide it, because what if they sign it and say this is he's performing at an outstanding rate? People say no, this is a farce. This cannot be true, because how you have the people that he's serving say he's 91% is a 91% failure, and you have his boss saying he's a 91% outstanding. 91%.
And give him raise a pay. Them give him 4.8 million.
Mr. Rattigan.
You see that, Damion?
You
see that, Damion?
Yes, I saw that. Mm-hmm.
You saw that, right?
Yes.
4-point-something million and say him doing good. That is an embarrassment to the people of Jamaica. The highest paid commissioner in the history of Jamaica when no police work. He must go put there as a puppet for protect them up there. Yeah? No care who wrong, no one get arrested from up there. Just look at SSL. You hear him talk about it? The commissioner, him talk about get a youth, and you see me on the podium attack. But when it touch to these big guys up there, him silent. He's silent, straight cross. Yes.
Go back to the Prime Minister's lawyer and everything that Zara brought up, as well as the murder inside the house where Mr. Bailey lived, right? All that these cases have disappeared, to include the MSET and Wheatley, to include the Education Ministry and our friend from Jamaica College. Were all of these cases that should have been prosecuted aggressively, lingering and just lingering in the court system, and these people running around, nobody in jail. But like you said, make it be one of the small men who commit similar crimes, and them hold on to him, no bail until him get tried, trying to convict them and throw away the key.
We notice again, right? Them have some, no, we call it the coke port, We notice in St. Mary up at the coke port, the government divest out the two international airport and then spend billions in the coke port. Billions. And then find much court down there and no arrest. Them don't even come out and said, we are going to charge this. Barely come out the other day and say, we're going to charge people, but we are iron out some things. That means them know who. If that was a little ghetto youth, them not going to film long time. We don't hear nothing from the commissioner of police neither. You understand? He means there was a puppet. He's a puppet. And then put him one now as chief strategist. He means not a police either. No, you laugh at and a serious thing. Him a police?
Who is that one?
Eh?
Who is that one?
From Mouthpiece Radio. No, we talk straight, we don't business. We talk straight. You understand? We talk straight. So them put in these kind of people as puppet and I rule the people them with iron fists. We have to change that. And we are hold them accountable. Remember, we are the opposition same way, So we talk. We in the diaspora, we talk for the people them at Jamaica same way. We're not playing with them. We tell them so we're not playing with them. You understand? They might think says a bag of mouth. No, we're full of action too behind it. Yes, Damion. Let's go to you're the spokesperson for education, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. We see some things going on with the education, with the teachers. And then we see like the education ministry send out something about the principal or something for charge, for reduct some money out that some of the teachers pay who take some action or something. That is stupidness. Your view on that, Damion?
Well, one of the problems we have as a society is that we think no further than our noses. So by extension, we always try to win the day and lose the year, win the battle and lose the war. So what we're doing now is to create to want to stay within our Jamaican shores. And as we create that uncompetitive environment, we're going to have the continued migration. Like, for example, last year was the highest level of teacher migration in the history of this country. And approximately 1,400 persons resigned from the classroom last year. So what people don't seem to understand is that every single teacher absent, especially at the secondary level, impacts 160 students. So a teacher at secondary math, or what you call senior school math, they would be teaching 2 10th-grade classes, 2 11th-grade classes. So when that teacher is absent, you have 40 in each class. So that's 18 10th grade and 18 11th grade that no longer has a teacher available to them. We have in this country PE teachers, physical education teachers, being asked to be an adult presence in math classes because they're incapable to teach it, but the children can't be left alone. So while it is that there might be jubilation that, okay, they were battered into agreement, the uncompetitive nature of our remuneration is going to have long-standing impact on our education system, which means that it's going to cross over into crime, it's going to cross over into lack of innovation, it's going to cross over into low-level paying jobs, it's going to cross over into general disaffection with our society, it's going to cross over to limited entrepreneurial skills, and then it's going to now affect the general society's ability to thrive. So the current situation is untenable, and the government's approach, because the first priority of a government's budget is debt repayment. The second priority of a government's budget is salaries. So now that we have conquered through, in the main, Peter Phillips, our debt repayment, ability to repay our debt, our next step should be a reasonable remuneration for those who we ask to sacrifice. Up until this point, they skip reasonable remuneration and now is talking about capital spending that nobody's really benefiting directly or seeing. In the main, Port St. Thomas, for example, is the most disrespectful implementation of infrastructure that this country has ever witnessed. No regard for people's health, no regard for people's convenience, no regard for people's going about their business and economic well-being. You get in a road and you're lucky you get in a road, so take what you get is a basic approach. So what we are investing in with these activities is an environment where the facilitators are unwilling to participate.
Yes, Damion. Ratty.
Damion, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, hearing you well.
All right, I'd like you to make a comment concerning, or an analysis concerning the number of children over the last. I think I heard you say it once, but I think it's worth repeating so that as many people as we can hear it. You talked about the number of children, number of young students who took the CXCs, and the number of children that passed, and you said that you need 5 to even join the JCF, and you talk about the people with 5 or fewer subjects, and I think it ended up like we ended up with like almost 100,000 over. I think it's like a 6-year period or 5-year period, whatever it was. And then you just said like you said the people with 5 subjects, they amount to like 50,000. 5 subjects or more, they amount to 50,000.
Police force.
Right. Yes. And then you talk about the pool for the gangsters. To elaborate on that for me, please.
Well, I can even go more direct for CXC mathematics. I know that the acceptable secondary graduate is 5 subjects, including CXC, math, and English. So the CXC math in 2021, 36,000 people in the cohort. Almost 14,000 never showed up to do the exam. So you have 36,000 at the age to do CXC math and 13,000 not coming. And so of the rest, the remainder, 28 and 30% pass. So when you look at the real mathematics, about 17% is passing. So over the 5-year period, you had approximately, I think, 42,000 persons with 5 subjects, including math and English, and 180-something thousand that don't have.
Say that again for me, please, because that's an outstanding. That's an astonishing number. Could you please say me? I'll write it down. I'm not going to use it, but say it again for me, please.
Right. So about 42,000 with math and English, and 187,000 don't have the 5 subjects, including math and English. That is why we have them saying them fully done.
That is why
the done songs are being improved.
Over what period?
Over a 5-year period. Over a 5-year period.
From when to when?
Ending 2021.
Okay.
Inclusive.
Continue, please. You're saying that's why they have come up with the phrase fully done.
Well, that is why, I mean, if you have a market size of 187 people in over 5 years that people said dunce, and a market size of 42 people that people said bright, 42,000. Which one would you try to sell? I'm not going to be growing any goat if most people don't eat goat. That is why you don't have many sheep farmers in Jamaica, because we're not a high sheep consumption market. So the fact of the matter is that the market is there for the dunce culture because most of our children has been reduced to an incompetence to achieve. The World Bank says that a student educated in Jamaica is 11.7% less capable than if that same student was educated elsewhere. So every time a Jamaican student go overseas, they overperform. They're the brightest. You couldn't believe that them so bright. But when they're in Jamaica, the circumstances and the system created mean that they don't have any food to eat. I went to Denham Town High School. I said Donald Quarry the other day. I was incorrect. Denham Town High School to teach some CXC math. I asked the principal to give me the cohort of the children doing math. Of the 200 children, 27. 10 o'clock on a Monday, this child is putting her head on the decks. So what happened to you? She don't eat. She have gas. All the rest of children, they were recommending the solution. The solution, as far as they were concerned, was to drink a soda.
No, that could be a solution. That make it worse.
Yes.
Oh,
So all what that do is that the acidic thing release
of
tension.
course, make it
You don't
worse.
feel the tension of the gas, quote unquote gas. But no nutritional value for her to focus on what I am teaching her. So these are the circumstances where when you hear the principal say that they have been incapable to provide more than one lunch a week for children and park. The solution as far as they were
Jeffrey, I think somebody just mentioned that you need to turn on your thing. Yeah. Because there's a feedback. Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry about
that. Right. So we have principals writing now that they were given less than $150 for a lunch. One piece of chicken and some rice in a little box is almost $400. One patty is over $150. So where is all of this greatness, with this miracle, this economic rebound? Who's benefiting? The teachers aren't benefiting. The children aren't benefiting.
And them parents aren't benefiting.
The racehorse is benefiting. Is the kings and the king's sport.
You don't say something, Damion.
Yes.
Sorry to cut you. You don't say something. But we see the minister, the finance minister, come now and he move GCT off a imported racehorse, but not the GCT off a tablet. What kind of madness is that?
Well, at the point that you can give up revenue from high income and non-essential activities, is at the point that you say you have enough revenue to do everything else that you need to do. So when you act in that way, when solar systems still have taxes, you have to ask yourself, what's the priority? Because none of us is against the wealthy. People seem to believe that if you argue for the underprivileged, you're against the privileged. That is not so. I am not trying to make the rich poor, but by God, there must be a priority place for equity to do some reversal of the systematic challenges that has caused for the poor grandmother to have a poor granddaughter.
Damion, let me ask you.
That is the role of government.
Let me jump in and ask you a question here, because I'm looking at the elimination of general consumption tax on the importation of live horses, and it's now zero. Yeah. But it's interesting that the last time we saw a reduction on this type of tariff, it went from 40% to 5%. Now, it did so on the 1st of April 2015 under the PNP government.
Yes.
What was the reason behind that?
I still don't know the reason. I repeat, at the point that you can give up revenue as a government, because a lot of people don't understand the role of taxation. The role of taxation is to create some equity within the society by paying for access others might not be able to achieve with their personal income at this particular point in time. So therefore, if you collect certain amount of taxes and say you're going to subsidize schools, primary and secondary schools, you then allow for people who would not have been able to afford the true fee of primary and secondary school to have access to it. When you look at racehorse, whether PMP or JLP, there can be no argument in support of the removal of a income generator from racehorses as versus solar power, when oil is one of the greatest detriments to our performance, as versus tablets and computer access. Not just for school. The world is at computer right now. The entire world. If you want to sell things now, Amazon is the way. It's not downtown anymore as it used to be. Nowadays, I see people telling you can buy coconut water online and they will deliver it to your yard. So access to information is access to knowledge, and knowledge is power. How can you tax access to information? So when I say the argument Nigel put forward is they weren't getting much money from it anyway, and so they will encourage the activity by removing the taxes. But if you put it at zero, then you still won't be getting any money from it, whether it's 1 million horses or zero, because it's 0%.
Mr. Crawford, good night to you again. You spoke about
Good night.
you spoke about the young lady putting her head on the desk and everything. Can you tell us what you know about the whole Nutribon Bulla thing that they have taken away from the children, or is it that they don't have enough funds for the Nutribon thing?
Well, the arms of government are not working in coordination. The Ministry of Health went on an anti-sugar campaign, especially in schools, and they were banning sodas, they were banning Nutribullas, Nutribon based on the sugar content. Simultaneously, they weren't working on replacement for that sugar content. The absolute truth is that those buns were really for a belly full, but they weren't for nutrients. They never had high nutritional value, but they added some belly full, some calories, and some energy because of the high levels of sugar, and the child could facilitate. But we have proven that the nutritional impact for our 14-year-old girls is so limited that once them start seeing period, them have high iron deficiency. It means that as soon as them reach a class, them want to sleep because them have iron deficiency. It has shown that for many of our kids, they are not eating. In fact, they said over 800,000 people were not having 3 meals in this country.
We saw something in the paper, Damion, right? Don't cut you. Them said 2 million Jamaican not having good meal, none at all.
2 million Jamaican not having a nutritious meal. That's why we love dumpling and butter. What's the value of dumpling and butter? That's why we love gravy, because gravy make the protein stretch. So you have a leg and a thigh and you chop up that and cook it as curry, showing 2 pieces of carrot and 2 pieces of a potato, and you say that you stretch the meat. But what is the nutritional value when you're supposed to consume X% of your body weight in proteins?
Mr. Crawford, isn't a damn disgrace that in 21st century Jamaica, they're talking about prosperity and half our people don't have enough food and nutritious food to eat, sir?
You see, what Jamaica has now is people that don't know that they are being sacrificed, So they are being starved until they love you for food. Is a thing I cannot explain. But they starve you and starve you and starve you until them throw you a little banana skin and you say, thank you, we are dead banana skin. But it's him a starve you. He starve you for water, and then he gives you a tip to quench your thirst, and you say, thank you. So election time, you'll be so impoverished that $5,000 will get you support. So there is no clamor. Even PMP policy isn't clamoring for change. Even the voting population, they are almost resigned to a circle, and this is okay for us to can't eat, for us to can't go to doctor when we're sick, for us to can't pay education for our children. If a teacher's child want to go to UA and study medicine, the entire salary will not be able to pay the school fee. So if the teacher don't eat, don't sleep, don't drink, don't take bus, spend nothing else than to pay the doctor school fee at UA, they will not be able to pay that fee for their child.
But Mr. Crawford,
How
Mr.
can that
Crawford,
be simple?
you also said that the PNP policy is not up to par either. So if the PNP policy is not up to par, what would you suggest that the People's National Party do that you're a part of to gain the Jamaican people's support?
No, well, what the parties are all trying to do is to gain the support. They're not trying to fix the country. They're not trying to change the nation. So when you want to change the nation, your duty is to campaign on what is right, not to campaign on what is wanted. And I'll go through that. I remember when they demonstrate against education in East Rural, then tomorrow you're getting education again. That is right. So you cannot just go to the whims and fancy of the lowest denominator. Anybody who voting and wants something, you say, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And then the priority things are not set. There weren't, a lot of people didn't know that equal pay for women was important in 1970s. They didn't know that maternity leave was important. Equal pay for women was being discussed in 2020 in the United States.
Of course.
Michael
Yes.
Manley gave Jamaica that in the 1970s. So no bastard law. Nobody thought that was important. But how much people inherit them fatherland now because they were not born under wedlock, but by law they're still recognized. So a political party must be willing to lose for what is right, not just jump up and spin around and go on like a bunch of puppets, depending on where the tide is going. So the people must be
Damion.
Yes.
Damion,
Yes.
has there ever been a school breakfast and lunch program organized in such a manner that it would target the underserved communities where we know kids are not getting the right nourishment?
No, never. PJ Patterson implemented the PATH program. PJ Patterson implemented the PATH program. But the PATH program was set to target basically daily one meal when you need 3. So that already started to be crazy. And then inflation wasn't tied to the PATH program. So therefore the value, the purchasing power of it almost came down. It's now, I think PATH is $30 a day or $40 a day.
So them don't move it up with inflation? No.
Well, check how much a person get for PATH. Them get it every 2 months. And so they might get $2,400 every 2 months. 2 months is 60 days. So divide that by 2,400, 6 4 is 24. That's almost $40 a day. Bus fare is $100.
So if
Mr.
Crawford,
yeah,
if you get
but
in,
let me just say,
go ahead.
Our government want to do something only to say that they did something. So they say, oh, we have children on PATH. Now, this is the trick that they play. They act as if there is only 2 types of people, poor and rich. So they say, oh, the poor is on PATH and the others can fend for themselves. But there is a person who have a flush toilet and therefore can't be on PATH, but is on the brink of the PATH.
Yes.
What?
I think we have lost.
We're still getting our feedback.
If you have a flush toilet, you can't be on PATH. If you have a plug-in TV, you can't be on PATH. So you might not be the poorest, but what about the person on the brink of poorest?
That's wicked. So PATH don't move with inflation then. Them just keep it there and then inflation skyrocket up. And them the business about that.
And then they give a big number. Oh, it's like how the minister say, oh, we have $12 billion for teachers. But each teacher will get $120,000 a month. Him don't take $20,000 a month. Yes. So the teacher is saying 20,000 is not sufficient, but he make the big noise, 12 billion. So they will come and say, PATH, 5 billion. But 500,000 Jamaicans are below the poverty line.
True.
So we need to do the mathematics. 5 billion is immaterial to where we're facing.
Yes, that's true.
You know, so a
Mr.
political
Crawford,
party.
don't you?
That's right. Yes, I'm with you. Sorry.
So, don't you think, sorry, such a button like that? Don't you think that something needs to be done pertaining to this part record? What should I say? The whole thing when it comes down to part for them to recommend you go on part, and when they come to your home and they start inspecting, they find that you have a flush toilet or you have a stainless steel fridge or whatever. Don't you think that something needs to be done pertaining to that in the sense of you can't say, okay, because the person have a flush out, you can't give them part?
No, hold on before Mr. Crawford answer that door. And let me tell you something, Jeffrey. When the finance minister came here and them talk about part. Remember we talk about this Ratty?
Yeah.
We don't want some more people going part, you know. If you want, when you want to see a country, you know, see the country grow, we want to graduate people from part. Because the more him talk about part and put more people from part, that means you're extra, you're under poverty line, brother. You understand? So me no want to see the more people from part, you know. Me want to see a better way for the people in Jamaica. And that's true.
One of the ways though, a man off part is to put him on part. Because, for example, if a child can't eat at school, they can't learn. So while it is that you're saying if the mother de on part, the child should not remain on part, you have to carry him till he's 18 by some method and some methodology. But if you don't tie the parent to go to PTA meeting, then you're not. The part is just a grand giveaway because you have to say you did something. And so there is no method, no basis, no plan. It's like when we say the first child in every household should go to university free. That's transformation, because if that child have any moral standing, they will become the compass for the entire family. So if we have 1 degree in every household.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Trinidad have 65% university experience. You know what Jamaica have? 24%.
Wow.
So just look at that disparity. And we love Barapusel. And we have 24% tertiary experience. Excuse me. And we account hard, you know. You understand?
Yes.
They say they have a system. The government said they have a basic school intervention called Brain Builders. This is from 0 to 3 to 6 years old. Within that age group, you have 112,000 children. You know how much they cater for? 4,000.
What can I tell you?
The big announcement that the ministry have as a program, and the minister repeated, we have Brain Builders. Schools have reported that even to the day, the rental books, they've only gotten 20% of what they requested. Remember, exam is in 2 months. So a youth can't go extra class and can't buy book and can't buy calculator and can't buy geometry set and don't get breakfast and don't get lunch. How is he gonna pass?
He don't have no hopes. It's like you see the country going backward. And that's true.
What do we know? The country knows that he is behind the 8 ball, because if a youth from Donald Quarry get 8 subject, it come on TV. We're so surprised by it. But if a youth from Campion get 11, nobody, that not come on the TV, because I'm supposed to get 11. The country knows that Norman Manley shouldn't pass no subject with what them are experience. Because in Campion, if you don't get your rental book, your mother just go buy it. But in Norman Manley, you don't get a rental book, you don't get a book. And I've never seen a demonstration against these things. We demonstrate for road and we don't even have a car.
You're so correct.
So these are the things that frustrate me as a youth, because you're almost fighting an uphill battle, because the same man go buy a rum and a boom and say the man will buy him rum and boom great when he mash up him kidney and him liver.
That's it.
So,
When they want to
Mr.
vote.
Crawford,
Of course.
if you should get in, Mr. Crawford, I don't know if are you going to run in the next election, so may I ask?
No, we are going to tell Mr. Crawford this. You,
Mhm.
and we are tell you, you have to get a seat. And we are going to tell them, you know. Let me
Yeah.
tell you now, to the powers where it been, let me tell you now something. Make sure when you find a seat for Mr. Crawford. Because
No, well,
we
me gotta tell you the
need
truth.
these kind of mind and brain out there. We know the foolishness. Because you know
You see,
what? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you
Mhm.
something, Damion. When you went over to Portland, you know, and you tell the people them about the goat, they make fun at you. Right now, you have people call me a Portland and I say, how Mary, anything she said, this and that, and that, and that. Me say, because you're not too licky. Somebody are turn you in a livestock farmer and give an idea, teach you the kids them math. Yeah? And I said something out of, something good for uplift you know, that you know have to hand out and stretch out and beg. And you go with these kind of little things and no one complain. That's why the country run down. Get
But
wise.
you see, when I
Yes,
went
man.
to Portland, I had a
Yes.
broader idea because what I observed is that they try to trick us as the poor people. You know my father, never born rich.
Of course, your father,
Trick
good man.
us in our
Yes.
poverty. You hear me?
Yes. Yeah, me, I hear
You
you.
hear me, Wayne?
Yeah,
All
man,
right.
I hear
Loud
you.
and clear, man.
So they tell the poor that those who own something, who rich own something. That's what they tell the poor. Those who rich own something. So if you're not rich, you accept that you shouldn't own something. But my father showed me that it's those who own something rich. So there's a reverse relationship that it starts with owning something. So if you want rich, you must demand ownership. So what I wanted to teach Portland people was the reality of ownership and the outcomes of ownership. That if you own 2 little goat, it could multiply itself, create revenue
Yeah, man, this
in
great.
their circumstance. So it
Yes.
wasn't even just see a goat, yeah. It was the idea that ownership is important and you should demand a system that allows you to eventually own.
Good.
They didn't want that message. And so they carried the media, them got interview goat man, said them kill them over goat and them thief them goat and all of that. And they never once asked the lady, what are you proposing? What are you suggesting that the people should use when the goat eat for free
Mm-hmm. No,
in
them can't buy
Portland?
good meat in a
If them have nothing else, them have goat feeding, cut them a bush like nothing.
Ah. See? And right now, them can't buy
And they
good meat.
refused the concept of
Oh, no,
ownership because those who own things are saying to them, no, man, work for me. Drive my taxi and drive it for 6 days and take 1. Work on my factory and make 10 million and get $500. Clean my bathroom. But don't use ever try start a shop so your picnic can turn it in a wholesale. And that is the ideological principle that I was selling with the goat. That I can't give you a hotel and I can't give you a shop and I can't, but I can give you something that you can grow and multiply and realize the value of ownership.
Turn a business
And they didn't want
entrepreneur.
that for the people. So they go around and tell them Easter bun and rum and boom and cheese tricks and curry goat. So
Mr.
these are the
Crawford.
problems because the people are enemies of themselves.
But Mr. Crawford, this has been going on for years in our country. If you should become a member of parliament and a minister of government within the People's National
I'm
Party,
not hearing, so I'm gonna...
Pardon me?
You hearing? You can hear? Cut off again. Soon come back, man. But,
You know, the question I was asking the gentleman.
Yes.
If he become the next minister of education, what is he going to propose pertaining to the whole PAT program in the sense of children getting nutritious food? Hold on, Wayne. And that's what you're saying, but getting nutritious food to go to school because some of the homes don't have nutritious food. Is it that a Damion Crawford, who's the next minister of education?
I lost you. I'm sorry.
Yes, okay. Let me rephrase the question. Is it that if you become elected and you become the next Minister of Education. Which of that I personally think between education and tourism fit you. But if you become
education, man.
the next Minister of Education,
yeah, man.
Are you gonna distill in the schools or put in the schools that the school should have a canteen that give the children breakfast in the morning, lunch, and so forth? Nutritious breakfast and lunch?
There must be 1 meal per day as a principle. At least 1 meal the government should provide for every child. And that is why it is so stupid and foolish that the poorest people celebrate the JLP's argument about no new taxes. New taxes is not to the detriment of the poor. No new activity is to the detriment of the poor. If we should put 1% GCT and said that 1% GCT is to provide 1 meal per day in school so that we don't have to provide 3 meals per day in prison, 90% of Jamaicans would agree to pay 1% more in GCT. Because the $1,000 that I had to give my child for lunch, maybe I only give them 300 for snack. But because they have sold the lie of no new taxes, we're getting no new policies. And that is a problem with our society.
Take off your political hat. And as a Jamaican citizen now, whichever that you are, but you take out the political PNP hat or any other hat. Put on a Damion Crawford hat.
Yes.
What ratings would you give the current Minister of Education?
The current Minister of Education?
Yes.
Favorite Williams.
Out of 100?
Out of 100.
Out of 100? 5. 5 out of 100.
5 that enough? yeah, good man.
No, because she showed up for some interviews and things. And she go to work in the morning. So 5 out of 100.
So she go to work. Okay.
Where's Ratty? She go to work. She show. She present. But let's look at it logically. Let's look at it logically. Let's look at it logically.
Yes.
Our teachers are migrating in droves. What have been done to reverse that?
Nothing.
So she failed. All right. Our students don't have food. What have she done to reverse that?
Nothing.
So she failed. Our performances are poor in CXC, in primary school, in literacy, in numeracy, and in tertiary. What have she done to reverse that?
Nothing.
So she failed. Our schools don't have decks, it don't have chair, it don't have rental books. What have she done to reverse that?
Nothing.
So she failed. Our children are going to jail for killing each other, or going to the grave for being killed, or being abused, or being bullied. What have she done about that?
Nothing.
Our teachers are being victims of abuse by students, and she have only put in a wellness bench to claim that if you sit down on this wellness bench, you should be better off. We have guidance counselor ratios of 1 to over 800. What have she done about that?
Nothing.
So in essence, if you look at all the realities that she has faced, tell me the 2 things that she was successful in implementing. 2 things, tell me 2 things in any level of education that she was successful in implementing. And you cannot show
That's
2
why I give her, Damion,
respect.
I give her Sub-Zero, you know. Sub-Zero them on my list. So she don't give you 5%.
You know, Mr. Crawford, I had her on my program, Make Me Talk on Roots FM, with my good friend Wil Rattigan.
Yes.
And I put the question to her. I said, Minister, our teachers are leaving the education institution in the numbers. Have you been to the Minister of the Minister of Finance? Sit down with the minister and say, look, Minister, we must do a better, try to do something for the teachers. You know what the good lady said to me? She said to me, it is not her duty to go to the minister. She mustn't get involved in that part. So I said to her, Minister, you are the servant of the teachers. You need to go to the minister, to sit down with the minister and say, listen to me. We got to do something about our teachers in the education institution. So, you know.
But
it's
our duty.
You're saying
cabinet.
You're saying I should take away the 5.
Pardon me?
You're saying I should take away the 5.
Yes.
You're saying I should take away the 5% again.
That's too much.
No,
Sub-Zero.
she hasn't gone to the minister. She haven't gone to the Minister of Foreign Affairs to say, listen, we are losing our teachers to the United States and to England. There should be a system in place that they should come to us at least to train teachers on their behalf, but they cannot be pirating and recruiting our teachers. From a foreign affairs standpoint, intervene. She haven't gone to the Ministry of Housing and said, let us put some affordable housing or affordable rental schemes in place so the teacher can live at a lower cost and feel better. Or go to the Minister of Finance and say,
we're having some technical difficulties, Mr. Crawford.
Yes, yeah, man.
Yeah, it's funny, but when we spoke to the Minister of Health, how, if you recall, how he said he resolved the nursing crisis, right? That he got the overseas recruiters, whoever they were, to cooperate in sharing the nurses that they would come and would normally take away. That in fact, they have a joint program. My question is, if that's the best practice, then surely you can have a joint program to save your teachers as well. If you're saving your nurses, right, and you should be able to save your teachers. If overseas want to recruit them, then let overseas help to pay for all the training that's needed, offer to pay and to invite some of their trainees to come to Jamaica. Because we have Michael, we have Shortwood, Edna Manley, we have a bunch of training centers in Jamaica. So surely they can boost the amount of teachers to be trained by simply contributing to a fund that would train additional teachers. And in essence, we could ask them to boost the fund to extend our feeding program for our kids. Did you hear most of that, Damion?
Yeah,
no, I just came back. And the problem I'm having because I'm in secondary is ridiculous. Imagine a child trying to be in class.
See that? But tell me something until does to be in class, man. Try to be in class. Don't the government say them spend must be millions, hundreds of millions a day, then put in something in some places where kids can get compute internet to use all over the country. In these areas, places like those. Hotspot. Them did have something like that the other day. So
If the internet service is a problem for the
yes. So them are carry it and them put.
Are you asking if the internet service is a problem?
Yes. No, them say them give some internet service.
I'm not hearing you well.
Yeah, in those area, that kid who want to use the internet, them can use it and do them homework. But see that?
Are you hearing us, Damion? I think we're having some internet issues.
Yeah, we have some internet issues. Up with Damion at. Carl, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good and good. I'm doing good and good evening to the panel and to Damion Crawford. I'm listening to him talk about what the government should be doing in terms of how to feed the children and how to get people involved. And what he has been repeating was something that was tried and proven, which was what was happening in the 1970s, if we are to be honest. Because there was a feeding program in school where it was one hot meal per day. It was there. And another thing is, having people involved in their own interest in terms of helping them to farm because they saw the importance of farming is not something that should be, that is something that has been lost on the government. And not only the government, but the opposition, they have to get back to things that worked, build on the things that worked, bring them back now, because something, agriculture is key. And you have these schools with so many unused lands that can be utilized. Those same students can go and learn farming because it was part of the curriculum. Learn farming and use the same produce that is planted out in the backyard the land that was being wasted to provide a lunch for the school students. It shouldn't be that in 2023 we're talking about Jamaica's inability to feed its own students. It should not be when there was a blueprint for how it can be done, because it was done. But because it was abandoned by administrations past and present, we are in this crisis. And if they should really think things through logically, they can go back to the drawing board and get back to some of these things that worked. It worked. It is a shame and a disgrace to hear the numbers that he's talking about, where these students are concerned, where the education system is concerned, where poverty is concerned, and it's a top-heavy government because all the people at the top are so well paid. But the people doing the heavy lifting, like the teachers and the nurses and the policemen and the firemen, are barely being paid. What kind of a society is that?
Can you imagine a commissioner get 4.3 million raise up here, say him doing good job and him doing nothing?
Exactly. So the system is backwards. The system is backwards. The system is backwards. It shouldn't be that in 2023 the country has regressed. The country has regressed when so much progress was made, like you talk about the Bastard Act. Yes, because at the time, no one knew that it could happen, but somebody sat down and thought this thing through and said, how best can we help these children not to be shut out? How the same thing with paid maternity leave. Prior to the 1970s, yes, it is a fact that it wasn't thought through, but some politician who had the interest of the people at heart said, no, we have to sit down and think how best we can do this to benefit this children. When a first world country like America is still debating whether or not women should be paid maternity leave. This was done in the 1970s, so some things worked. What happened?
So tell me something.
It cannot be that politicians are so lazy. They are too lazy because they're getting paid for doing nothing.
No, they're not lazy, they're dishonest. They're lying them pocket. They're criminal. Nepotism and cronyism, they're criminal. So it's not a laziness doing this, Them are lying them and them friend pocket like them and say we can't look again.
True. Because
them know the right thing, All right, hold on, Carla, hold on. Let me show you something. I'll show you something, Damon. Hold on a minute. You remember, when the Prime Minister and him crew, we call them the barbers, right? When they were in opposition, them say all the right things. Allow me to tell Damion, them say all the right things. Yeah, and them all the things as an opposition, and them speak and what. But you put them in the driver's seat, what them do? Them step in the poor neck. You have to hold them accountable. That's why I'm always a play back them thing on them and remind them, When they can't treat the people them no more, we know the foolishness. Andrew is a big failure. And by the way, that's the latest man on the face of the earth. Because me no hold back that. Me no go on corner. You understand?
Wayne and panel, it is a shame.
Yes.
It is a shame that a country with so much talent, so much resources is in the state that it is in right now. It should not have happened. It should not have happened because great things were happening. And as a matter of fact, the country can produce its way out of its own debt. But are the politicians willing to do the hard work? Are they willing to tighten their own belts? They like to talk about, we're going to tighten our own belts. They're not tightening their belts. They're not. Because while they're asking the people below them, the 99% to tighten their belts, the 1% is not.
You know
the
what?
1% is not.
I'm going to make Damion talk now, but you know what? Around, I think, 2019, Grace Kennedy, called the name, right? Them said they make 98 billion in profit. And then them heal up the government because the government give them 500 million in waivers. It's right there. You can go read it. It's not the paper.
Yeah.
500, $500 million worth of waivers. Why they give them waivers and but you put red tape for people in the diaspora who are sending a barrel for them poor granny and them people them when have nothing on them thing. The why $500 million if you get charge Grace Kennedy. So instead of them make 98 billion, they make 97.5 billion in profit.
Yeah.
And you give the waivers to who you can pass it on to. No, so it's supposed to go. So we know, so them not really, this government is not for the poor man, them stepping at them neck.
Exactly. And you know something?
Yes.
Damion hit the nail on the head when he talked about how to teach a man to fish in terms of giving him the goal, because that was a policy back in the 70s.
Yes.
When you give them land was ownership. So to hear now that to own something is, knows only rich, it's kind of backward thinking. Where did that come from? Because there was a time where the poor was taught to own something.
Yes.
So he had a stake in his own development because he owned a piece of land.
Yes.
When did that become not a thing? When did it become a crime for the poor man to own a piece of land or to own a goat? Because that was a thing when a poor man owned the goat and the cow and the pig. That was a thing. When did that become
right now,
a crime?
I can tell you something. When was that election? 2016, right? 2019? If them people that did have them goat, they right now, they'll give me a rundown figure.
Exactly.
Right? Can you imagine now them go there that drop again. Them that turn some big farmer
but
entrepreneurs.
For them not to see the vision, who dropped the ball? Because that was the nucleus, that was a part of the PNP structure. A foundational part of the PNP structure was investing in the little man, because it was taught, it was ingrained in every member of parliament that you have to build the country from the ground up, not from the top down.
And it also taught that no arrogance, right? Remember
we lost all of that because everything was about from who is at the top, and the small man is just there when they call elections. No, it was a process that during elections, you had the group meetings, you had every councillor, every member of parliament, everybody was involved. Because you had to learn the principles and objectives of the People's National Party, which was structured in how you deal with the masses.
Okay. Make the man come in here, say yeah?
All right.
You take care.
Cool.
Yes, Damion.
Yeah, man.
Yes, man. Damion?
Yeah, man, with you. I'm with you.
Yes, man. You hear the caller look a while? Yes, man. You hear the caller look a while? You can hear me, Damion?
Yes, man, I'm hearing you well.
Okay, you hear the caller look a while. Okay,
yes.
Ratty, we're not here for me a long time, so look who call you now. Yes, man.
All right. Damion, first of all, you used to go Georges?
Casey.
Okay. Because a brethren of mine named Kevin Stewart, him say you and him in the same class or something like that, same year.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, himself a big up. Let me answer this question now. Last week we had a government official who came out and said that for the last 30 years, I don't know where he got this stat from, but he said over the last 30 years, 80% of the people who received tertiary education in Jamaica departed. So I asked him, I said to him, should I deduce from that is just pure dunce-bat left, the 20%, and mix up with everybody? And he couldn't really explain himself. And it was just interesting listening to you with the stats regarding people who took exam, people who failed, and what do we do about that large group of 187,000 people over a 5-year period. So let me ask you this, because these people are people who didn't make the grade in the sense that they didn't get 5 subjects, including math and English. Now, you went out to Portland, and I've listened to you. I listened to you back then, listening to you now. And you have a very clear message. But the message doesn't fall within the parameters of the commandments of a politician. What do I mean by that? The first and the most important commandment.
I hear you say that they migrated. So I lost what you said. Let me answer it.
Okay. The most important commandment of a politician is to get reelected. Right? The message that you're preaching.
Not to me, no.
No, not to you. In general, I'm saying. General. And this is where the question is going. Your message is not that. It's not to get reelected. It's to educate people. Is as the lady said a while ago. Is to provide people with an opportunity to learn to fish, as opposed to you giving them a fish. And you went to Portland with that message, and it was roundly rejected. The question the question now is, what do you do about that mindset going forward? I mean, because it looks like the way you explained it, it sounds reasonable, it sounds logical, and it sounds like something that was attractive, yet people rejected it. So how do you package the message now going forward so that people can understand? Well, I'm assuming that they understood it the first time around, but that people can really accept it and gravitate to it and said, yes, this is what we're going to do. How do you package this message?
Well, first of all, I think the first duty of a human being is to remain true to their conscience. And since politics is a activity of human beings, then you can't make that be secondary to nothing else. You must be true to your conscience. It is this commitment to re-election why they were willing to make black people kill black people in the name of election victory.
Big speech. Yes, man.
And I wouldn't want to give you a pound of rice and a spoon of sugar. Because it's like I am always against this food package foolishness. If there's no hurricane or if there's no difficulty in the person accessing food, why should one man decide what another man eat? Why should I decide, say, okay, I'm going to give you cornmeal and flour and corned beef? Suppose I wanted sardine. So this food package thing is like the people are pets. Only pet, you should decide what them eat. So that is not true to my conscience. If you have a $5,000 food grant, you give him food grant and him go buy what he wants. You don't know if he's a vegetarian. You can't go pack a bag for your man. The most basic choice should be what you eat. So I want to be true to my conscience. When I feel disappointed about the outcomes of elections based on my proposal, I also remember that Marcus Garvey lost elections too in Jamaica. It is because he was running for a seat in the parish council that they stoned him for. There are going to be some of us who only time will prove that the truth was, on our hearts and in our mind. And
for giving up bad, man. Yeah, man.
No, a follow-up question of him.
Yeah, the phone. The phone.
The poorest people in our country is fighting against their own interests. And so how do you fight with a man who is fighting against his own interests? He's an enemy of himself.
True.
So when you go to him and say you fight for him start to fight you.
True.
What do you do for that man? What do you do to a man who said to himself that a criminal community is what he desires, when every criminal community poor and every non-criminal community rich? How do you say to a lady who think that if she look brown and she gonna make it, because she spend money on bleach, but she don't spend no money on education? Remember, all our women now want better breast and better bottom, but no better brain. So what do you do when these are the enemies of themselves? It's like you try to make a run away from the plantation and the man them go tell upon you. No, you get beaten, you get castrated, you get tied up in a tree, and you say, better me just run away by myself. You understand? The other thing I want to know, what methodology these people use to say 80% of university graduates migrate? What methodology they use? Them have a migration list done by Pika.
I hope he's listening to you.
Big dirty lie. 80% of who I know from university haven't migrated.
I tell that yesterday. The other day.
So they carry this as an excuse to not fund tertiary education. Them carry this as an excuse I hear them talk about the basic priority of any education system is early childhood. All right, show me which you develop by stopping at early childhood. And you show me which tertiary you never get early childhood. If our aim is to get a degree, then early childhood must come with it because you cannot get a degree before early childhood. But if our aim is early childhood, then after that you'll get left.
Let me ask you a follow-up question here, and I'm gonna divert from the education portfolio to finance. Now, in the last, I think, last 10 days or so, the Minister of Finance made his speech in Parliament, and he said that the unemployment rate is the lowest it's ever been in Jamaica. It's 6%. It's historic.
Yes.
Now, I'm finding out now that what he didn't tell the people is that he's using stats from July of last year, because the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, they're the ones who provide the hard numbers to the ministries, to the government, right?
Yes.
And they do it every quarter. They haven't done it over the last 9 months. The last time they provided statistics to the Minister of Finance was in July of 2022. Yeah, and they didn't do it because they're busy with the census. So now, 10 days ago or so, he came out and he said the latest figure is 6% unemployment. So he's using old stats. The other thing he didn't tell them is that 1 million, Jamaica's 2.8 million people, based on the 2021 figures. 1,268,000 people are employed. He didn't tell them that 829,300 people are unemployed, are not looking for a job.
And not about not looking for a job neither, I tell you already, you know, but make Damion answer.
Yeah, but this is the number they have. They have 829,300 people. They're unemployed, or they're not. They're combined, the two of them. I combine unemployed and not looking for a job. Actually, the term they use is outside the labor force. That's the technical term.
But Calvati, when you go in a place like Rockford or Maban and go, you see the youth them yesterday, if them come with go to work for even 2 days, them take it.
Right.
But them now go to Tivoli go look a job.
Exactly.
Them in them era, no job, no dead. You don't have no job creation. Them not have no money if come out there. So something like them now look the job. Them just don't have that job.
But anyway, if you combine it, that's a huge number. That's a little less than a third of the population. And then when we go in now and we look at the people who are working, the 1,268,000, we find that the largest increase is in the occupation group called clerks and craft and related trade workers, minimum wage people.
Yes.
So now my question to you, Damion, is the 820, forget about it, we're not even talking about the 1.268 million people. I'm focused on the 829,300. What's your message to them?
Well, my message to them is it's difficult, because what do you tell a man who have given up on the probability of getting gainful employment, other than to say to him that try to own something and try to lobby for the industries that you can have ownership in to be facilitated by government? We have some industries for the poor, like taxi, that is being fought by government. Vending, that's being fought by government. Entertainment, that is being fought by government. Agriculture, that is being ignored by government. So those who are out there feeling say, I'm going to look at work, go look at income, and profit is income. You can get income from wages and you can get income from profit. So maybe if we stop focus only on wages, you might find that there's great opportunities to go get that income from profit. And so that is the message I said to them, because we all must earn a living in a capitalist world. That's where we are. And if we are going to earn a living, we have to get an income somehow, some way. So to separate yourself from the income generating activities of a society is ridiculous. I can just tell you something. If you have 12 female goats, you make $600,000 for the year. Enough of them are work and now make 600,000 for the year. If you may have 24 female goats and 1.2 million. There's also a new industry for people who cut grass and sell to goat man like me. So if a man decides a theme work is for us cut a truckload of grass every morning and come collecting 5 grand, there is that available to people. But if a youth just say because nobody in the start a cut grass business and then give him a cutlass and then give him a grand for the day, him don't have any potential, any opportunity. Instead of come knock on every goat man door and say, me we cut grass for you if you give me X per pound or X per. It is a difference in mindset to say, if I create a profit, I am also gaining an income more than depending and waiting on a job. As I say, there's some crazy things that we have been sold. You know, we love remittance, but we hate migration. I don't see how that makes sense.
Yes, Damion.
But isn't the solution, Damion, that people have to be very creative in how they feed themselves and their families? In other words, they have to stretch.
There have been what?
They have to be very creative in how they feed themselves and their families. They have to stretch that dollar a lot further.
Yes.
When them have it. When them have the dollar.
Yeah, them have the dollar.
Oh gosh.
But then if him have a patch of land, him can plant some food, some ground food, and him can cook it, then as long as he have food to eat, he can subsist on that for a while. Now the other argument that should be made is if you're gonna appeal to the diaspora, you always see churches appealing to the diaspora for clothing, right? And food items, you know, like canned goods and stuff that is not expendable. Why don't they appeal to the diaspora to have the diaspora invest in them, in their communities, and get them the land that they need so they can be a community that grow their own food? I mean,
Well,
you know, if you're going to ask for something that is long term and allow you to subsist.
Damion?
Gone off.
You there, Damion? Damion?
Miss there, but
No, here.
yes,
Can you hear me?
you're getting cut out. But I hear something about the diaspora appealing to the diaspora.
You know what we have to do? I'm going to tell you
If Jamaica was seen as a retirement haven. Hello?
Yes,
we hear you.
Hello?
We hear you.
Can you imagine the number of jobs that would be created if Jamaica was perceived as a retirement haven for the Jamaican diaspora? We're not talking about nobody else. We're not talking. If Jamaica was the Florida for the Jamaican diaspora, how much construction work, how much house helper work, how much gardening and landscaping work, how much driver work would.
This is very interesting, you know, but Damion, I cut off too much. We have to go carry back on the Damion. Damion?
Yes.
All right, here one
yes,
now.
I'm with you.
Because you cut off so much, me get some text right before, and they must say because you cut off so much, make we carry back on like on Sunday, no, man. When you settle up.
Yeah,
and
when
we
me there in
Sunday show.
Kingston. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. When
Yeah,
I'm
man,
in
make we carry
Kingston
back
and I can.
Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
man.
it can be better because people want to hear you and people that say, yeah, man, we have to care about Damion because you cut off too much. When it's important,
Yeah,
when
man.
you're like, all right. Sunday.
Yeah, man.
Same time.
I'm at the farm because you know we have to earn a living. We can't steal a living. So I'm there at the farm. So Sunday when I'm in Kingston.
Brother. Enough respect because you then leave from down at the they call it with enemy margin house. Down at the, you know, you do your work down there, so and you stand up for the people them as a you know the house, so them call the upper house again.
The Senate.
Senate, in the Senate. And then you come by your farm and you work. But you have
exactly.
some people now in a politics. Me not see them do no hard work. But them
No.
extra rich.
That you look on.
Actually have
Yeah.
taste, sir. I'm gonna put it on
All
and
right.
take it off flat tea.
Before him go,
Damion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, before you go, just ask him
Yeah,
one quick
yeah,
thing.
man.
Just talk to us about race and class, because I read somewhere where somebody was commenting about the issue you brought up regarding race and class. Talk to us about that before you go.
Well, Jamaica is known as a extremely classist society. And because class have an income component for which most of the earners and holders of income and wealth are of a certain race, then race become a secondary prejudice because the class in the main includes a particular race. So once you don't accept the truth that the circumstances of the average black Jamaican were so difficult that recovering from it even generations after, they were trained to not want to be family men because you were a breeding stock. And if you did go on like you want to defend your family, you were going to be killed. So when the slave was bred to 17 women, he was immediately separated from his child because the greatest threat to the whites were the men being defensive of their children. That is ingrained in him and must be reversed by serious action. They were told that knowledge was unnecessary and indeed would be punished for seeking it. That is ingrained in their culture, in their circumstance, in their activities. They were fed food of low nutritional value that became their taste buds' favorite and passed on to their children, who now say we love gravy and
No, it's still a mashup. It's still a mashup. So I could do it Sunday.
yeah, so Sunday.
Sunday, you have
No
a better-
misunderstanding based on semi-conversation.
Yes, because the people them say to cut off and them now, yeah, them say no, we have to hear Damion for this Sunday. Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
But
Well,
you know,
Sunday, you know, yeah, good governance meeting Sunday.
yes, you know, before we go, Mr. Lonesome, I want to ask Sir Rattigan, who is the legal mind here. You know, I'm here listening to Damion. You know what's coming across my mind? Can we put a lawsuit against the Ministry of Labor? Call Samuda
Of course.
for not paying our pensioners properly.
Of course.
When last have they raised the pension in this country? Utility bills, JPS is about $20,000-$30,000 a month. Water bill is nearly the same. To buy food, and in 21st century Jamaica, call Samuda along with the Ministry of Labor, successful administration, undermine the pensioners in this country while them living free? Huh? Something has to be done.
Well, look, Jeffrey, defender, you can sue anybody. It's just a matter of what you can prove. But sometimes you sue for effect. Sometimes you know the case is not gonna go anywhere. Because sometimes the facts, they don't support the legal theory, right?
Mhm.
But the facts are bad. I mean, for optics, they're bad, but they're not, because you're not talking about criminal activity. You're talking about a civil lawsuit. So sometimes you sue, and you just sue because you know it's going to pick up, it's going to get widespread appeal, and it may force the change that you seek.
Yes, but Ratty, you see when him say I'm sue call Samuda, him same one, with the farm workers, right?
Yes.
Now we use all those farm workers and the bad treatment when
I mean, they bring a class action.
Then you make a class action suit against him. So if you go fully, go with the pension, you go after that. I remember we know the farm worker, we can link them up and everything.
But
link up never couple hundred of them, and you sue them, you sue him. Sling them under the bus.
Not only that, Mr.
Yes.
Lonesome and Sir Rattigan and Sir Herb. You have a class action suit that's been brought against them. You know why? There's some hanky-panky going on in the Ministry of Labor. Poor people money is going somewhere else. And I've been calling for an audit in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. There's a lady that I know who at one point they gave her a card to go to the ATM to collect her little chip and say penny. When I can't buy a tin of dirty girl, that's a tin mackerel and a hard dough bread. And when she got to the ATM, for some reason, the poor lady don't know if it was a bloody ATM machine. They took the card from her. I went down to the Ministry of Labor with her. This happened in 2018. And you know, until now, that woman don't get back that back money. And if you miss one payment of the PAD program money, when you think you're going to come back on the next thing, no, it's the same damn chop and penny you get. And you're telling me that everything is holy and dunkly down there? Some thiefness going on down there. And the man who they call Minister Carl Samuda, you sit down in the Parliament of Jamaica, and when people call out to you, and by the way, why when these people in opposition, you can't get them left, right, and said, I'm mad this evening. You know why? You know why I'm mad? I sit down and I listen, you know. And my head take me now.
That one.
My head take me.
Yes.
You have a president of the Senate who on the chat pay damn nonsense when you're ready. Call someone as a Minister of Labor. You call the office for them come on. You email them, nobody come on. But they go on one radio station though in this country. It's not that radio station putting in power, you know. It's not that radio station putting in power. It's the poor pauperizing taxpayers of this country putting in power. And the time has come for Minister Carl Samuda to address the nation of what is going on by the Ministry of Labor, the poor people part money.
Him so address the nation because remember the Minister of Finance announced recently that the minimum wage will be increased and that the Honorable Minister Carl Samuda he didn't say. He didn't say. He didn't say. He didn't say how much. He just said that, and I think it's going to happen. He said that, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, said it's going to happen next month. So we'll wait and see.
Mr. Rattigan, when I sit down, you know, and I listen to Damion talk, good and everything, not talking about Damion, but when I listen, and I remember this poor lady who needs help, they're standing in lines to get little chupans here paying the money. It's same way if you're collecting money from overseas, they send you a tracking number to go and pick it up. Why the hell in 21st century Jamaica, the Ministry of Labor can't send a tracking number to the poor pauperizing people phone? Never step into a line downtown Kingston where Sunday bound them. Some look fly by night, pitch by day security guards, disrespecting the poor people of this country. Enough is enough, and the time has come for us in this country to speak out. No damn PNP or JLP, speak out for the poor people of this country. How on earth can you continue like this? When you talk to the poor people of this country, it's Mr. Herb. Listen to me. Try figure out what they're going on there. And make we get.
Jeffrey, let me say.
I'm upset. It's unbelievable.
I hear you. But listen. It goes back to the community organizing. How well these communities organize, whether under the CDC umbrella or they get together to form some type of judicial action that they want to take. But to me, the program on the CDCs is one, for instance, at Waterhouse, when we discuss the various projects that need to come into the community, that need to happen in the community. We discuss a feeding program at the schools as well. So if the CDC can discuss these things and plan these things and ask the diaspora for assistance, then you may have a more success that way than being dependent on government to hand you something that they don't even want to budget for. They don't see you. These people are invisible. They don't think poor people rank on their scale. They don't have to worry about the poor of Jamaica. They let the diaspora do that.
You know, when they worry about the poor, because we give them over 3 billion every year. Me have somebody on the line that can speak out still. But let me tell you, on good time them friend you up and you and them good.
Nonsense.
On good time them friend you up, Jeffrey, and when a voting time. When it a come to election time, them come give a look
And him
around.
come back here, they contact about now the Androids are doing well. Doing what?
Them not doing
You
nothing,
sitting in the
brother.
Senate, not doing a damn thing either.
You understand? Hear this now. Let me hear. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yes.
Yes. Good night, everyone. Panel, Mr. Crawford, you did the nail right on the head. Because all them things that I'm hearing, it's sending my blood pressure way up. Because I don't understand how people, students are not getting any lunch in school. And in the 60s, you eat breakfast at your house before you go to school. And you have to reach school by 8 o'clock and don't make Joe Williams see you on the road late for school. You go back home and you eat your dinner. On Fridays, they give you milk powder and whatever other things they have. Some of the guys, them take the milk powder and waste it on each other while others take it home because they never know it can make good cornmeal porridge. And we get good lunch back then. We get stew peas and rice. We get chicken back, dumpling and banana, stew chicken, and all those things. So I don't know what is happening now. We live in foreign. Can't tell people in Jamaica that they must have this and they must do this and do that. We don't live out there and we are not the one who is suffering.
No, but you see
Not
when you have your
everybody
family,
wants to be a farmer.
Annette, you see when you have your family, when you have to send back the money to your sister kids, them, and then you know them have government. You have to tell them to stop vote for party and vote for substance. All people buy them CV. You are Jamaican. Stop one like you're some slave. So you have some slave master over you. These people are servant of the people. Them come to you, beg your work, you know. Them take off their shoes, them talk to you good, and when you give them the job, you can call them and get them when they were in the office.
Then
Not
check out-
until
You understand?
Then check
four
out
or 5 years to come again.
Don't
It will
very
stop.
Black River.
The Shara was the one who said, away with education and give us salt fish. I don't know how much people remember Shara. I'm old school, so I know what I talk about. My mother go to JLP and ask them for help, and them tell her say she have to go to JLP first. PNP never tell her that.
But that of
Whether you
foolishness.
go to PNP or not, you get work. JLP get work off of PNP, and I can't count how much PNP we get work off of JLP.
But that must go as me just said to be Jamaican. Anybody, but you see, with the people, you see, my kind of mind, let me tell you this, you know. My kind of mind will motivate a lot of people. And people who know me, them know me stay. Let me give you a rundown. Some people are called, Annette, hang up and listen some answer, yeah? All right, so let me tell you something. You know, so me and actually, I'm going to look at you, because we're so African, you know. Remember, Damion, I come up on the thing, yeah? I'm going to answer the person. Me, Action Fire, we you know we do God alone, man, little you are merciless, right? Action Fire, me, you have a youth named Stevie Banton and the next youth. 4 hour drive go Wales. We're going to do an interview for BBC, the TV, right? Them people that when them interview, you know, them appear you and them thing there. So we over there, we are waiting for the man them to come. You have a man of a studio there, invite to the studio. We see a Jamaican over Wales with them now, Wales. Him come in, boy, him can't quote me the name, boy, him see, them are white people. Him a Jamaican, so I'm chat to me now, one feel like him a smaddy. I'm here observe him, you know. But him don't know my style, you know. Boy, I mean like some dub plate, you know, and boom, and give me this kind of talk. But call him the boy about 50 pounds now. Disrespect, you know. I'm here listening. Because I pay more than let me tell you this. Move from here. See him where Ratty. They say, let me tell you this. Nobody now do nothing for your boy. I'm not enough, you know. He move fast, you know. When the man will come, because they must say, boy, Lonesome, I see you. I say, yo, him can't come this way. Front all people are talking about number one, nobody who advise him. Nobody now advise him. A conk him forget conk too. But you come style people in front of people. Number one, I bet you never have no money and you come and say you have bigger tune. I mean, you don't have it, I'm give you. But you don't come bill a price and you don't know what we are charge. And you tell me what you pay and I come talk to people like you and them a color. I want me when him a wicked man. And I
Yes,
him a
sir.
do this. Me
Yes,
do know
sir.
what them say, you know. Them a
Listen,
do
me-
this and I see what's the man.
Let me run something out. Let me run something out
Yeah,
by
man.
by the panel, yeah, and people. A brethren, I might keep on calm. You've been asking me this question a long time. I'm saying, want Herb to answer this. Him no want me answer, nobody else answer. Him say, Herb, him want your answer. Why is it? How is it that the Prime Minister never have a 9 to 5 and him go St. Lucia and from him go St. Lucia and come back, him turn multimillionaire? And the second thing is, him want you talk about. Him say say that the Prime Minister have a youth, not with him wife, a youth out how him say up in the Bronx. Him say make Herb talk about the Prime Minister's son in the Bronx. And him want to ask you a question. Can you talk about that and talk about the Prime Minister's wealth? From poverty to wealth. Him want you talk about that.
and he has a son in the Bronx.
That's what the cause at him say want Herb to talk about the Prime Minister's son in the Bronx. So
very interesting. Go ahead, Sir Herb.
You know, we several times, even your program, Jeffrey, we talk about the affluence that somebody gained, right, from ill-gotten gains, right? And we talk about the fact that people in the Prime Minister's office who journey abroad and pick up funds after key intervals, and these funds went towards a slush fund for the 2020 elections, and also the money went to the first election that Damion lost in Portland, right, where Damion got beaten. The problem has always been ill-gotten gains or unexplained affluence. Now, the new law is supposed to be coming in. So they're going to have to go back to the folks at the Integrity Commission and ask for the report that was turned over to them from Cyberpol. It was turned over to them by Julian Robinson. And Julian should come on and talk about that report as well. I notice he stayed away from it. But the report clearly identified monies being picked up, over 20 million US, in Mexico, brought to St. Lucia and laundered through Barbados, and came back into Jamaica, right? So there's so many instances of people taking trips abroad and picking up funds, right? People taking trips abroad after land sale in St. Anne.
Government land.
Sale, the land was supposed to be sold for 12 million. That's not the advertised price. The advertised price is about 8 million. So that means somebody went and picked up the difference. And the difference going to somebody's pocket. So with all of these things happening, and people are enriching themselves, all this unexplained affluence comes back to the Integrity Commission. What has the Integrity Commission investigated? And how far are they willing to take it, if it means going all the way to the top? Now, let's look at current situation with the Vaz family. Young Mr. Vaz is selling 150 kilograms of ganja to Jamaica, reportedly. He is the guy behind the Canadian shipment of ganja to Jamaica.
Hold on a minute. You're talking about the one in the parliament or the son?
The son. Reportedly, he owns the company in Canada that makes that ganja, and that under what's his name? Aubrey. What's Aubrey's
Aubrey
name?
Hill.
Aubrey Hill. Yeah. When he made the announcement, he didn't identify the company and who's behind the company. But since
hold on
then,
there, Herb.
yeah.
That means Aubrey Hill lied to the people of Jamaica, because he said there's no politician involved in it. There's no politician family involved in it. That's what
Well,
Aubrey Hill told the people of this country.
I'll let you all decide that.
Go ahead, sir.
Right? Because there's video out on this, and if it weren't true, I'm sure Mr. Tavares could take action against the people who released the video. They're right there in Jamaica. But if his son is the one who sold 150 kilograms, which is about 300 pounds of ganja, to Jamaica for so-called research purposes, and we know that for research, the normal amount is usually no more than 3 to 5 pounds of ganja. That's the normal research that's done on ganja. But 150 kilos or over 300 pounds is ridiculous. So you have, to me, what is lawlessness that is occurring in the Prime Minister's office, that has enriched the Prime Minister, that has led to the acquisition of land in Beverly Hills and the building of that house up in Beverly Hills. So if we're looking back at what the Integrity Commission has, they have a lot more to investigate the Prime Minister on than him influencing contracts. Now, the same person that he influenced the contracts on behalf of, reportedly, is the same person who purchased the land up in Beverly Hills. All right? If this is the man that is handling your business, the question then arises, he's not an officer named in your company, not a director, because his two sons are the other two directors. He came into all this money in that company, unexplained affluence, and then he has this man making all these purchases. The Integrity Commission needs to go back and source the funds using the documentation that Julian Robinson gave to them. Because that was a deep dive to discover how did he come in possession of the funds to begin with. And until the Integrity Commission completes that mission, then the Prime Minister walking around scot-free. He don't have to explain anything to the people of Jamaica. He don't feel that he need to explain the source of his wealth, the source of the 14 billion that what's his name, the PNP senator attorney spoke about. 14 billion that was spent on the election.
You mean KD Knight?
KD Knight. There you go. Right? So when they can you make the Prime Minister explain all of these things, and when you examine who from his office went to Mexico City and collected all that money and brought it into the country via St. Lucia, via a bunch of front companies and stuff that they open up in St. Lucia.
So hold on, Mr. Herb. You're telling the people of Jamaica, the people of the diaspora, that somebody went to St. Lucia, somebody went to Mexico, at the Jamaican embassy in Mexico, and collect a diplomatical pouch, whatever they want to call it, the grandfather over there.
No. They went to a bank.
A bank
In Mexico City where they collected this money and brought the money down to St. Lucia. And another person associated with Jamaica that used to be in the JDF made distribution of the funds, opened up various companies, and laundered the money.
Help!
Money come right back around. The only company that we could see in St. Lucia and Barbados that might have brought that money in is SSL. So you can see the role that SSL would have played in moving the money around.
So that is why until now, nobody from SSL, none of the Vum Vavant, nor the Vum Vavin of SSL is being questioned by the Jamaican authority.
Hey, we got a commissioner of police who can direct action and all of these things. We got the evidence that Mr. Julian Robinson turned over to the Integrity Commission. If they really want this thing investigated, they would have broke this thing open a long time ago.
So, okay. So that means, Mr. Lonesome, I'm not taking away program, Mr. Lonesome. But I've not answered this question. That means, does the People's National Party really want to solve Jamaica's corruption problem? Are they a part of the corruption problem in this country?
Well,
if they get such information and they refuse to break it, remember when Bruce Golding got information about Kern Spencer, you know? Bruce broke it, you know?
But Kern no, with the light bulb and them thing.
No, I'm just using an example, Mr.
Yeah,
Lonesome.
okay. Because when I put that in $200 million, that in a better. I know people pay. About some people like of 500 years, me not see, me not play.
So what I'm saying?
You understand that?
Yeah, man.
We not play.
Yeah.
We not play.
You are saying to me,
yes,
that the People's National Party has a copy or information stating that the PM XQYZ, and they sit on it and does nothing about it?
Never declared it in Parliament. They just simply gave it to the Integrity Commission. And I'm not sure if the Integrity Commission is equipped to follow the information that was given.
What me say about that now? You see, all the things set up, I'm going to say it again, and Ratty say it to you already. I'm going to say it to Herb and Jeffrey. When you have a government where no cure them reckless, nobody bring charges because you have a puppet commissioner. We can lock you up, we can charge you, you know. But him did a shield, like a force shield to protect them up there. So. Okay, you leave it. Because if it now have no, what you call it, limitation, no run out. Yes. If you now have that, you lower it. And you see, anytime the shoes flip, you grab it because you have to move this trick out of your way. Because it's not going away now. I'm going to tell you from now. It's not going away. And you see the media houses, them look not, I don't even want to style them right now. But you see little media houses, them over have when not good. When a pocket and the mouthpiece read and the whole of them, you know, and the PSO, the one them on the right. You have to line them off. Can we have some shine bank for some of them in a rat? Ratty. We need them, man. But you see, when them are surround themselves with General Lampile and some people, you allow them for till, you understand, when something flip over, you grab them. You change the thing and grab them because you're not going away.
But hold on their way.
Yes.
Hold on their way.
Let me throw this out to you, Jeff. Let me throw this out.
Because I'm confused.
With everybody on the panel right now.
Yes.
I have asked the same people who ran the investigation to do an update of the investigation to include the past information. So if you're serious about getting answers and getting a full report, then we need to fund it. We need to pay these guys to go do the deep dives and get the information that we want and get it in black and white. A complete investigative report. And it's out there.
So
the same thing is out there for SSL.
Okay.
Regardless of who's investigating SSL, they can do a complete investigative
You
report.
just said SSL, right? Just look.
Yeah.
Don't you see the? Can you imagine a chairman come and say, "Hey, me resign from a company, including Barbados," and me not shield nothing. But any one of the agency them, any one of the police agency, you want to talk to me? I am here. That mean no March, them not talk to them yet. Because them too big. That me I tell you. So when you see this, just understand this. Okay, when you say bum bum, that's why I have to move the commissioner of police. Him is not no police neither. Straight up. Them too corrupted, brother. Them throw me off, you know. You understand? Them. We say we want some bango for them, but them run up and down wait, man.
Hold on the way.
It's a matter of time, man. Hold on, man.
And
You want to see police around that.
And
Yeah,
I know
man.
you want to go in, but hold on a minute. Mr. Nelson, you're saying that if we want information about SSL, where then thief Hussein bought money and put it? And if we want information about who owned company in St. Lucia and who took their grandfather money from Mexico through to St. Lucia to Jamaica to fund election and the $14 billion that KD Knight speak about. Okay, we need to speak off here.
All right.
Well, before I go no further, still right, man. Say more. You talk about the Prime Minister's family. Some
Yes,
up in
his son,
New York.
Yes.
Well, the New York, you see, there's a I think a half brother that's in New York. Is a owner chauffeur, executive limousine company. His mother is in the Bronx, and I think they have the same mother, probably different fathers, or could be vice versa. Same father, different mother. Right? So he spends a lot of time flying. When he flies up, he always go to the Bronx and go check on them. So the kids that we saw in the report that were in New York, I said kids because I thought there were at least two of them. He could be from a previous relationship or marriage, because I'm not looking at the report. No, I'm just speaking to what I saw back then. So again, if you want to understand all his deep and dirty little secrets, I'm saying it's available. We just gotta pay to pull the report again.
All right. So let me tell you
And
something.
update the report.
Hold on. Before we're going for Lonesome, and you're talking about Interpol, our links over in Hong Kong. You're talking about.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So let me tell you something. Before
those boys don't play. I just got a report from them yesterday.
Okay. So let me give a look rundown though, because me is the Pentagon, right? And I mean, me personally, me talk to you after. I don't want to put nothing to that. Because you may not look on certain things, me look on the what going in the country, about the country. But you remember, me is the Pentagon, and I can't say a lot of things, so me not saying. Because me not swear to some things. I mean about the answer to some things. But when it touch to running the country, me will answer. But nobody feels me is not the Pentagon. Me is the Pentagon, man. Real the Pentagon. New York, I'm a place for me and everything. So me is the Pentagon. But me no want answer to some things, and they study with the country and like them like goods and like all the mamas the economy. But me talk to half here. People never say something to half here.
Hold on there.
Yes.
Hold on. You know, I'm a bit confused this evening. I shouldn't say I'm confused, you know. I'm just, I can't understand. Is so much level of corruption in our country. And Mr. Nelson, you're saying to me, I'm going to repeat again, that the People's National Party have a document pertaining to the PM and money transfer from his grandfather in Mexico come all the way down, and they did nothing about it?
That's exactly the report that they commissioned. And they got the report, and the last word I got, it was passed to the Integrity Commission.
So Integrity Commission have it.
Integrity Commission have it.
Well,
This came up before,
say
you know,
nothing less.
because myself and Ratty told them before that the Integrity Commission got the report.
So we could find out if them got it, because the Integrity Commission to deal with all these things. You know. Them have
Well,
the
they
power.
said they wanted to talk to us.
But
I mean,
we see the Integrity
they
Commission
want them to
failed
investigate.
for something and failed for some charge and all kind of things already. So as me tell Jeffrey already, when the Integrity Commission them can do a lot of things, you know.
But they're not doing nothing, Mr. Lonesome.
Because
They're
them not
not doing
integrity,
a damn
brother.
thing about it.
That's why I say you
Yeah.
have to wait when something slip or something. Have integrity. Them have the powers, you know. They got to tell you. Them have the powers. Integrity
Anyway,
Commission,
Look,
if them have
Wayne,
papers, them have the
you know,
powers.
I mean, they waited 2005 till now on this situation with the gentleman that he was making way for favorable contracts, right?
Yes.
Same gentleman mixed up with his land buying in Beverly Hills. If it's a quid pro quo, remind me here, Ratty, isn't that illegal that he's getting a favor done in one area with illicit ill-gotten gains, and then he's pushing contracts in another area to the same person?
Yeah, you know what's interesting? What's interesting is that I don't know how that didn't make it into the Integrity Commission's report.
You know why?
That piece.
Because remember when you
Right.
can. All right, let me tell you again, Ratty. When you control, when you have some people where you control and you hear with them say, okay, all right, them come and say, Lonesome the wrong, you know, but me not charge Lonesome. But if me even have one wrong or two wrong or how much wrong and me say all of the wrong front of me, you not charge me, where you gonna get them charge you. Because you know where them there, you know where the mindset there, you know the country now run right, you know, say them people are, me see all them program like robot. So you have to program them now and know what them never do. Something must flip around, even them you move off when it flip around.
No, you know the interesting thing
Yes.
thing is that the prosecutor, the corruption prosecutor
Yes.
under the Integrity Commission said that some of the charges, not enough evidence, but she said there is at least one charge that there's enough evidence to substantiate it. However, she won't pursue prosecution because of abuse of process. Now, I've been asking them, what does that mean, abuse of process? And what I'm gathering is that it means that it takes too long, right? Now, keep in mind that there is no statute of limitations on corruption in Jamaica.
Okay.
No statute of limitations. No, the incidents that they're talking about occurred back in 2000, I think 2007, 2006, 2007, somewhere around there.
2007,
Somewhere around there, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But then it wasn't reported to Integrity Commission. Our Integrity Commission didn't pick up the investigation until Zara Burton did an expose in 2016. And then they finished up and then they tendered it to the Parliament this year, right?
But
there's no, but there's no
and them should have put it in Parliament till February before they do something.
but there's no
Them should
statute of
have more than a
limitation.
month.
Right.
So you see,
But
everything what me I tell you about.
But be that as it may, keep in mind that the prosecutor said, I have enough evidence here that I can prosecute this man for corruption. But I'm not prosecuting, but I'm not going to move forward because of abuse of process. No, you know what that means?
That's why I tell
that
you.
means, you know, everybody who's been under investigation for the last 5 years, 6 years,
Them no
whatever.
business. That's why you see.
And that's why you say when them run out the clock now, Pan Royal Read and all them people, them can't come and
That's
say,
why
hey,
then
abuse of
it me
process.
explain. That's why we have to start drop last week.
They just keep running out the clock.
Don't you mess with Zion.
They don't look
Just
at
wait.
the
Zion have the key to open up door. You know. It does a time. Because we are going to melt up Zion key. Remember me tell you that. All right.
Anyway,
Yes,
come
sir.
tomorrow at
Yes.
12 o'clock our time, 11 o'clock Jamaica time.
Yes.
Join Wayne Lonesome, Wil Rattigan, and I think Sir Herb will be coming on to the Make We Talk Jeffery Tavares on Route 96.1 FM. We're gonna dig deeper into the application that he filed in the Supreme Court against the Twiddly Dum Dum, the Commissioner of Police of Jamaica.
You have to leave, man.
So join us tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock Jamaica time, 12 o'clock US time. Wil Rattigan, Wayne Lonesome, Herb Nelson Jr., and yours truly, Jeffery Tavares, on the Make We Talk Jeffery Tavares YouTube channel, live on Roots and 6.1 FM. Until you hear your voice again, may God bless you all.
Bless. We're out.